Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and having a great day. There's a lot of news that just tumbled out within the last hour or so there is a lot to cover. Starting up, the Ethereum creator Vitalik Buterin has noted that sharding is coming. Ethereum creator Vitalik Buterin has announced that sharding, a much-awaited scaling solution for the Ethereum blockchain protocol, is coming. In essence, sharding is a solution that optimizes the process of verifying transactions in smart contracts by splitting the blockchain network into partitions called shards. Instead of having every single node go through the entire transaction history on the Ethereum blockchain network, sharding allows certain nodes to be assigned to certain shards, optimizing the process of nodes verifying transactions. He actually revealed a proof of concept of sharding that he uploaded to GitHub and hinted that the development of sharding is near on social media. On Reddit, Ethereum, an online community wherein Ethereum users, investors, enthusiasts, and developers discuss various projects and solutions, Buterin published a more in-depth description of the proof of concept he released this week. According to Buterin, the fundamental idea of the current version of sharding's proof of concept surrounds the implementation of a proof-of-stake beacon chain or full Casper that is merged into the main Ethereum blockchain network. He added that the proof-of-stake beacon chain with sharding enabled can issue new blocks every 2 to 8 seconds, which is significantly faster than existing proof-of-work blockchains like Bitcoin, which is an average of a new block every 10 minutes. There's been so much discussion about Ethereum and about them finally releasing upgrades, and we constantly get droplets of news and nothing concrete yet. There's still no date on when sharding is going to arrive, but it seems to be a lot more hype and excitement around it than it was before, in that we barely got any news about it before, but today, 2 days ago, and I think a week ago as well, there was news from Vitalik that they're getting closer to doing things, because we were originally told, I think it was around sometime winter of last year, that we would be getting a lot of these upgrades around summertime of this year. And it's still left to be seen if they're actually going to be able to pump these things out, or if they are even officially complete within the next couple of weeks. But it seems, well, I'll get to it in the video. A lot of other people are slowly trying their hardest to catch up to Ethereum as well. Next up, IOTA is in the news, and not for the reason many people probably want. The Center for Blockchain Technologies, the CBT at University College in London, has posted an announcement on its website that it has dissolved its ties with IOTA Foundation, TNW reported on April 28th. While it remains unconfirmed, CBT's allusion to recent news reports and researchers being subjected to threats of legal action appears to be a reference to the controversial fallout over an IOTA vulnerability report that was published last September as part of MIT's digital currency indicative that found a vulnerability in IOTA's open source repositories on GitHub. Though IOTA responded by fixing the vulnerability and did not initially deny the curl hash function could have been compromised, they suggested such an attack would be impractically complex and that users' funds were not seriously at risk. The situation deteriorated on October 17th when leaked correspondence appeared to show IOTA's lead cryptographer acting independently of the IOTA Foundation, threatening one of the researchers with legal action. IOTA has not been in the news recently a lot at all, but when they have been in the news, it's usually been something very negative. There was also something about them being knocked out of, I think, the top 10 spot or something like that on the cryptocurrency charts. Very, not that they've been quiet. Well, okay, IOTA is not my favorite thing in the entire world, but I like what they're doing and I like the idea of what they could possibly do if they get everything correct. But there was a lot of news before, like I said, especially last winter, of people looking through their code and they were saying that it was broken and that a lot of it wasn't working. And then this MIT thing happened, and this is when I kind of stopped talking about IOTA altogether. So this is why, big reveal, this is why I stopped talking about it, because it didn't seem right to even bring up a project like this that may have been broken, and a lot of companies have kind of stepped away from IOTA, and they've also had like really weird partnerships as well, like with that electrical car thing a couple of weeks ago. Next up, Ripple is in the news, but who they've partnered with is kind of more significant. Ripple's global network of banks and payment providers has a new member. Announced Monday, Bank Dufour, an Oman-based financial investment management company, has joined RippleNet, a move the bank says enables it to provide global cross-border payments using Ripple's blockchain technology. a press release states. So I believe this is the first Oman financial institution that Ripple has actually joined up with. There's no indication of what they will be using as far as XRapid, XVIA, or XCurrent. No one said anything. And what's even weirder about this as well is that we received news before that Brad Garlinghouse said that he would not announce any new partnerships until they had gone past 200 partnerships, banking partnerships. And over the last 2, 3, or 4 days, we've had about 3 partnerships that have been announced, but none of them by Ripple themselves. It's constantly by the people who they have partnered up with. So it's kind of interesting. I don't know if the other banks are just trying to get not hype, attention to themselves over the last couple of weeks, because we've seen a lot of companies, their profits have risen dramatically the moment they've come out to say that they are working with anything that has to do with blockchain technology. So yeah, like I said, this seems to be the reason for the announcement, but this is not a official Ripple announcement. But I mean, I doubt the bank would go so far as to lie that they had partnered with any type of cryptocurrency company. Next up, Hong Kong is in the news. The Hong Kong Financial Services and Treasury, the FSTB, released a report yesterday on April 30th on the status of money laundering and terrorism financing. Of course, the report concluded that virtual currencies like Bitcoin are not particularly involved in either type of financial crime. Lo and behold, the FSTB notes that although there is an inherent money laundering terrorism financing vulnerability related to virtual currencies, there does not seem to be any visible impact affecting the overall risk in Hong Kong so far. The risk of virtual currencies is assessed as medium to low. So, remember what I said a while ago, that we were constantly getting news from governments. Now, remember January, all the news that we had from just about every single country around the world, how cryptocurrencies were horrible, how they were this, how they were so and so and so. We just had news from America as well. Some other type of report, I think, was from the FTC, if I'm not mistaken, that also stated that cryptocurrencies were also low risk. We had the same news from Europe. I think we had the same news from Russia when they were trying to figure out exactly if they were going to make their own cryptocurrency. So over the last couple of weeks, we've constantly had news from different world governments talking about how cryptocurrencies do not pose any risk to their economy, or they are low risk when it comes to terrorist financing and or money laundering, because people still are geared towards using the US dollar. Kind of interesting. Once again, I'm pretty sure these people all have conference calls or they FaceTime each other to talk about exactly what's going on with cryptocurrencies, but they're constantly releasing the same news day after day from different countries. It's just all kind of weird how they coordinate things. They must have like a schedule set up, like which country is going to talk about what regulations and stuff like that on a certain day, because there's never been a time where we've had news like this from 3 different countries or 4 different countries or 5 different countries at one time. It's always day after day after day, as if they're almost, I don't know, like dominoes or something like that. Like they're all waiting for the other countries to kind of talk about it first. Whatever. It's my conspiracy theorist brain, I guess. But so much news about cryptocurrencies not being a threat as we get closer to the time when the US was supposed to have released their information about what's happening with cryptocurrencies. Dash is once again in the news. The peer-to-peer cryptocurrency that focuses on the payment industry tagged digital cash you can spend anywhere is taking lead with the introduction of 3 main improvements, while it is yet to release the deterministic masternodes list. The 3 proposed improvements, according to a post it released on its Medium page, includes DIP 2, DIP 3, and DIP 4. The release stated that DIP 2, DIP 3, and DIP 4, which are major installments, would be implemented and deployed following the release of 12.3 deterministic masternodes list. There's still no date, I believe, when looking around online for this, for exactly when these proposals are meant to go through. But it's nice to hear that Dash is once again in the news. They're usually, I mean, they are a privacy coin, but they tend to be very quiet. You don't tend to hear a lot of hype news from Dash, Monero, or Zcash over the last ever. And when they are in the news, it's usually about some type of upgrade that they plan on going ahead with. So good job for Dash. This is another coin that is never in the news. Waves is talking about creating their own smart contracts. And what did I say a video or 2 ago? in order to remain relevant now, you kind of have to add some type of Ethereum smart. You have to have some type of smart contract platform, because this is what a lot of companies are gearing towards. A lot of companies who are getting into the cryptocurrency space, they talk about, before they used to only boast about blockchain, but now they're talking about implementing and using smart contract platforms in their companies. In a tweet on the 28th of April, less than 3 days ago, Waves platform announced that the much anticipated Waves smart contracts are now available on Waves testnet. The testnet, with the feature added, can now be downloaded from github.com. As can be seen with the screenshot of the tweet above, the project anticipates a moon landing once the smart contracts are fully available and functional on the Waves platform. This adds Waves to a growing list of platforms that are gunning for Ethereum's dominance in the industry of smart contracts. The other contenders are Stellar, Zilliqa, Tron, EOS, and Ripple with its revived Codius project. The announcement comes at a time when Ethereum smart contracts have been the subject of scrutiny due to the discovery of security vulnerabilities in the smart contract platform. A classic case on the dire security situation in Ethereum smart contracts is the infamous parity debacle, where a user locked up $200 million in Ether indefinitely on the smart contract by killing it through a bug in the code. This is going to happen a lot more, not the entire Ethereum thing. A lot of what's happening with Ethereum is, I think people are just kind of gunning for their spot. Ethereum is an industry leader at this point. At least they've solidified themselves to be this way. And I think everyone kind of wants to get into the number 2 spot. But as far as smart contracts, I think even newer coins that are going to start to come out, I think this will be like a common thing inside of every coin. When other coins started first coming out, I don't know how many of you have been in the crypto sphere for that long. The main thing was to outdo Bitcoin's transaction speeds, and now everything is trying to outdo Ethereum's smart contracts and also do the whole sharding thing. Not sharding, as far as like scaling and talking about how many transactions per second you can do, and the magic number now is 1 million. But good job for Waves. Let's see if this actually pushes their platform forward. Next up, the crypto market is currently down because the number 1 coin is currently down. And I still think it's kind of weird, because if you've noticed last 2 or 3 weeks, I want you to find any negative news that we've had in any of the videos that I've posted. Search around online for any type of negative news. We've had nothing. I don't know if it's not even that the coin was overbought, because I think Bitcoin got to 9,300 and it kind of floated around there and it's been going back and forth. It's constantly, maybe even up here. Yeah, it's constantly floating around anywhere from 8,900 to around 9,300. So it's not like the position was overbought or that anyone was, scrambling to try and get Bitcoin more than any other coin. A couple of weeks ago, we talked about how they were, this comes down to when Bitcoin's price drops, other coins tend to have a harder drop than Bitcoin does. And it was my belief that they were trying to bring up Bitcoin's dominance, which was around 45%. Over the last couple of weeks, between EOS, news about Cardano, news about Tron, news about, I believe it was Verge or something like that, these coins have slowly pushed Bitcoin's dominance down even further. I'm not exactly sure what's happening. It's not like 9,000 is even like a major resistance point anymore, because we've spent multiple days over 9,200, 9,300. So I'm not exactly sure what's happening in the market. Like I said, we haven't had any negative news, so it's kind of weird all the time for me to see, even as other coins are moving towards being launched, or other projects are starting to slowly happen, or they're integrating new things, or they have new upgrades, that all it takes is for Bitcoin to push down a tiny bit, and then the entire market seems to react. It's very frustrating. I'm sure it is for you as well, because I'm sure not everyone here is holding 3,000 Bitcoin. I'm sure you also have multiples of every other coin. So to see these really cool and great projects that are slowly moving forward be pushed down because they're denominated in Satoshis, kind of annoying, but let's see exactly what is going to happen. It's like I said, it's interesting to note that the dominance is at 37%. My personal thinking on the matter is that I still think the people who own Bitcoin are trying to make sure that its dominance stays as high as possible for as long as possible. With news of things that are coming out for Ripple, EOS launching, news about Cardano, Tron, which I'm not going to get too much into, but there's a lot of hype around the project right now, and a couple of other coins, I think we could see some type of struggle by this summer, because all it takes is for Ethereum, not to spend too much time on this, but all it takes is for Ethereum to kind of say they're going to finally release one of their updates, for Ripple to finally get going with MoneyGram and Western Union, for EOS to launch, for Cardano to get really good news, and for Stellar to talk about some other type of integration, and for Tron's mainnet to launch, which I think happens in about 4 weeks. And there will be a lot of problems for Bitcoin. That's just how I feel. I think 4 weeks, give it 4 weeks. If not, I apologize for my, quick thinking, or my, not conspiracy theories, you know what I'm trying to say, but I have a feeling that we have about 4 weeks, and we're going to see a lot of things shake up, especially between Tron and EOS both launching within the next 4 weeks. Something major is going to happen to the cryptocurrency market, and I don't think a lot of people are going to be prepared for it. But moving on, news about Verge is happening once again. So like I said, this happened, it had to be a couple of minutes ago or something like that, and Verge is around... Where is Verge? There we go. Verge. So Verge is only up by 16% at the moment. There was a pop-up in price, and a lot of people are saying that they think that it could be because I think they released, what's it called? One possible explanation could be the recently created Verge channel dubbed Verge Tweet Repro. The sole purpose of this channel is for followers to read and retweet each tweet posted on the channel by the Verge team. This means the current 3,632 followers serve as potential retweeters for the Verge currency project. They provide the much needed PR mechanism needed for the project. The initiator of the channel is a genius, in my opinion. I did not write those words. This person believes that this is the reason why the price of Verge has popped up, saying that their former partnerships, which caused the price to drop down, I think about like 33% or something like that, is finally catching on to people. No, that's not at all what happened. People don't hear news and then react to it a week and a half later. What has happened is Bitfinex has put Verge and Stellar Lumens onto their platforms. Bitfinex, one of the largest and most advanced cryptocurrency platforms, announced the launch of Verge and Stellar Lumens on its trading platform. Although the deposits are already enabled, the trading went live at 11:30 a.m. UTC. Both Verge and Stellar Lumens can be traded against Bitcoin, US dollars, Euro, Great British Pound, Japanese Yen, and Ethereum on the exchange platform. This seems a lot more likely than people being like, oh my gosh, they had a partnership a week and a half ago. Yeah, let's dump into it now. Whenever any coin gets listed onto a major exchange, people go absolutely nuts for it. Especially if it has to do with something that is typically in, I want to say, Japan and South Korea. The market kind of goes insane because Japan and South Korea control the market, whether you knew that or wanted to know that or not, or were unaware of that. If you look at any type of charts or statistics about what's going on in the crypto world, they control the entire market. So any type of news that someone has been listed on any type of exchange that's not in America typically, and you'll see a huge price bump. Let's hope that the market eventually pushes itself back up. Like I said, there's been no negative news, none at all the last couple of days. So it's kind of odd to see the market in red, but to be fair, a lot of these coins did go up. I think EOS went up by like 300% over the last 2 weeks. It was $7 before, and I think the high it got to was around $22 or something like that. So, to be fair, the market, was a little hot for a while, but let's hope that Mr. Number One kind of gets it together, because I want to have a nice summer. All right, everyone, that is going to do it for this video. As always, thank you once again for all your support. Hope you're loving all the good news, because it's just been nonstop good news back to back. Thank you once again for watching, and I will talk to you all soon. See you.